And thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We appreciate your time this Friday morning. I hope you're all doing well. And my name is Rob Moran. I'm with the County of Riverside Business and Community Services Department. And we're pleased to join our partners, AmPac Business Capital, Hilda Kennedy, who's the president and CEO, and Richard Pillay. And the purpose of our webinar this morning is to go over the state grant program. And I just want to make sure everybody's clear that it is a state grant program, and it is run on a global level by the folks at Lendistry, together with various local partners, and AmPac Business Capital is one of those local partners, and I'll let Hilda and Richard tell you more about the detail. So just a couple ground rules very quickly, and I hope everybody can hear well out there. If you have a question, there is a Q&A at the bottom. Please place your question in there, and that is how we're gonna deal with questions and answers, and we'll try to get to them either as we're going along or at the end. So we'll have time for a virtual Q&A. So let's go ahead and get started. So Hilda, good morning. Richard, thanks for being with us. So the state Small Business COVID-19 Relief Grant Program, we're in the middle of round 2. The application period closes this coming Monday, correct?
That is correct.
6 p.m. So these folks that are here have today and the weekend and Monday to complete their application. So let's just start with some of the basics real quick. What does this grant program do for small businesses? What's available?
I'm going to let Richard has been our AmPac team guru. We are a partner in getting information out and helping small businesses to get questions answered and walk them through the technical difficulties that we've seen some people have in applying for the grant. And Richard has been on every call to make sure that we have the latest information. So Richard, why don't you give the high points and then get into more details as Rob asks questions. AmPac Business Capital is a mission-based lender in the Inland Empire, and we make communities better and families stronger. And in addition to the grant program, we're doing the PPP program, Rob, and of course we do a lot of SBA lending programs and community lending programs, and we're excited about what the possibilities are to help small businesses with this grant. So Richard, take it away.
Ready. Rob, thank you so much for the opportunity, and good morning to everyone that joins us on the call on today. To answer the first question about the California Relief Grant, why is it important to you as a small business? Maybe you've heard things about it and you're saying, well, I think I should apply, but I'm not sure. So thank you for joining us today. Let's talk about the money in and of itself. Rob already announced you have until Monday. I encourage everyone on this call. I see 142 potential applicants. Please apply. You're a small business owner. There's some reason why you should apply. There's so many which we could discuss, but let's just get down to brass tacks, talk about the money. For those of you who on your gross revenue on your 2018 or 2019 tax returns have earned, as showing gross revenue, I want to make sure I emphasize this because yesterday's call I had, someone was saying I didn't make any money. That means you're looking at net profit. Gross revenue, if it's $1,000 to $100,000, you are an eligible applicant for a $5,000 grant. Please apply. The system will decide whether you get it or not, but that's that level for you. For those on the top line again of your tax returns, gross revenue show $101,000 to $1 million. You have the opportunity to apply for a $15,000 grant. And then finally, for those of you who have revenues of $1,001 gross revenues to $2.5 million, $2,500,000, you have the opportunity to apply for a $25,000 grant. These grants are taxable, but they are a grant. They are not due to be repaid.
Hey, Richard, real quick question.
Sure, Rob.
Do you want to share your screen? Is there anything that you want to put up there?
Okay.
I'm just asking. If you don't, that's fine. But I just wanted to make sure.
I don't mind sharing at all. I
can make you I can make you the host, but I just wanted to ask if there was anything that you wanted to put on the screen.
Okay. Here's what I'd like to do, Rob. If I can, I'm going to open the document. I'd like to have it ready. We can put it up on the screen. Let's see. Got the wrong document open. Bear with me here before you go to share. I can put the document on the screen. Here we are. I have it. I can put it on the screen so as either through questions and answers, if people have something in particular they want to know, or if they just want to see the overall process, I can show you that by sharing my screen because I actually have the presentation deck.
Okay, I will go ahead and make you the host, and then you could go ahead and share your screen.
Fantastic. And for the benefit of the audience, I don't want you to panic when you see at the top where it says 1 of 82 pages. We're not spending the time to go through 82 pages today. Rob, I wanted to give that as a disclaimer.
Thank you for doing that. And so just to clarify for everybody, our intent here is to go about an hour, and some of that will depend on the Q&A, but sure. I think that's the plan. If it runs over, we hope we can answer all your questions, and we certainly want to take the time to mention that. So that's sort of the idea here.
Okay, awesome. And I'm looking, let's see. Do you see my document yet? Do you see the Lendistry deck? I see it on my screen.
I can see it. I hope everybody else can.
It's up.
It is up. Okay, perfect. So thank you. So let's, so you'll notice up at the top there where it says 3 of 82. That's right. So we're not going through all pages. What I wanted to do for those, Rob, that may have not seen the actual process of what happens round 1 versus round 2, you already talked about that they have till February the 8th, which is Monday, to apply for round 2. And we'll just tell you where the system is right now and where we're going from here. You'll notice here the process overview, and this remains the same round 1 or round 2. If you're a new applicant, what would happen is you're applying at a partner website. That, of course, would be ours. You would apply through our website. You could pick any partner, but if we're in your county, so we want you to choose our site. And then there's documentation guidelines. So there's a certain amount of information that has to be uploaded into the system. Ultimately, your application, when the grant cycle closes, this is true for first or second round, when the grant cycle closes, there's a scorecard. What is the scorecard? It's an algorithm that was created between the California Office of Small Business and Lendistry. It has a number of components in it where systematically decisions are made as to who is a viable applicant for the grant levels that we mentioned. In round 1, there were 3 results that could happen. I'm sorry, let me take one step back. How much money is available? $475 million was made available by Governor Newsom to be distributed to small business applicants. 344,000 applicants actually applied for some portion of that grant based on the levels that I was sharing with you, 5,000, 15,000, or 25,000. In the first round, 21,000 grants were actually awarded. So it gives you an idea of how competitive the process is, but no one knows all the components of the scorecard, which is why I encourage everyone to apply. Do not discount yourself saying, oh, I can't get it. You do not know unless you apply. There are certain portions of the scorecard that were regulated by the state of California, where they said they want to reach those that are in rural areas. They want to reach industries that are the most highly impacted. They want to reach small businesses that are being owned and managed by minorities, so the disadvantaged communities, and disadvantaged industries, the most highly impacted industries as well are some of the components. There are others, but that's very important to know. Some high-level points again in this process, and I'll tell you again, approved, waitlist, and not selected, but something I wanted to emphasize right up front. Please make sure if you don't have a copy of this deck, or if you don't have some more information, that you reach out to us. Let me get your information to prepare you for this weekend for your application process, which is this entire deck. And there are videos on the website that you can see what the experience is going to be like. Time is not going to allow us to go through the entire experience. I just wanted to go high level and encourage you, please apply.
Richard, real quick question.
Yes, please, Rob.
And I think Hilda maybe you could do it afterwards. Can you please put in the chat a link to where to apply and where some of these materials will be shown so that they can reference it. And I wanted to mention too, we're recording this webinar and we're going to put it on our YouTube page, which is Riverside County Business and Community Services. So if you do want to go back and listen to it again, you're able to do that. But if you could post some of these links in the chat, I think that would be really helpful. And you'll notice that Hilda just pointed a couple for AmPac.com. And so thank you for that.
And I'll just mention that I'm going to respond to the Q&A. Several questions are coming in. I'll respond to the Q&A as Richard is going over everything. Everything from linking to our website, you go directly to the application. And so that's the best route to get you through to the industry. If you go through a partner, and you can go straight through our website and it'll take you to the application.
And may I ask, can everyone see my screen right now where I'm showing the links in really big bold print? Can you see that, everyone?
I can see it.
Okay. So
Yes.
there it is there. I'm sure, Hilda, you probably put it in the chat as well, but I just want to display it very quickly, and then we're going to go back to the process. And then I want to get to the question and answers. So I'm assuming by now that everyone has at least seen that, or if you grab your camera, take a quick screenshot of it. These are the salient points that we're making. This is the website that you want to apply it through. As Hilda has already mentioned, it'll take you directly to our service partner website, right to the application. And then the videos on demand, this is a link that'll take you right to the videos that you can choose. And what it will show you is every step of the way, how to most efficiently place your documents, put in your information, and complete the application. It takes, honestly, if you have your documents ready, about 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to close that screen.
And you're going to get to what the documents are, right, Richard? I'm sure
yes,
you are.
I certainly am. I'm
I
going to
know.
close this.
I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm going to, there we are. I'm going to, sorry, my view would be different from yours. I'm just moving the little menu bar off my screen there. So in round one, let me go here. In round one, there were 3 events that would happen during the course as those that had applied. You're either approved for the grant, you're waitlisted, or you're not selected. And Rob, I'm taking the time just to share that, just in case audience members are from round one and they're wondering, well, I didn't get the grant. What happened? You should have gotten an email that says you're waitlisted. You automatically move to round 2. Those who are deemed ineligible, they've already been notified. Those who are approved, that's that 21,000 we spoke of, they as well have been notified. Now it's just a matter of getting funds out to them. In round 2, it's going to be 1 or 2 results. Either you're selected or you're not. So what we will do, we won't have time. I talked to you just briefly. There are $237,500,000 in funds available. We mentioned that 21,000 applicants have already received grants. This is just the grant levels. What I'm doing, Rob, and for everyone that's watching, I'm skipping down to the documents. Let's get down to what you really want to know, what you want to have prepared.
And Richard, do you anticipate, or Hilda, having a third round? I know it certainly hasn't been discussed or advertised in any way, shape, or form, but do you think there might be a possibility? Now, I know there's a budget proposal at the state to add another $575 million, later this year, but do you think there's a chance they'll open up a third round with this $500 million pot of money?
I'm not sure about that because of the great demand. It would appear that in the second round, all those funds will be used up. I testified before, or I participated in public comments before the budget committee earlier this week, and there sounds like there's some great support available for the program. But we won't know until the round is done and see what funds are available. But there's implication of a possibility.
Okay, thank you, Hilda. Sorry about that, Richard.
No, Rob, there's no need to apologize. This is group discussion. And to Hilda's point, I want to encourage everyone to please apply. There's conversations about additional monies coming, but we don't know when and if that may happen. So now's the time. These are some points that you want to bear in mind when you go to your computer or your cell phone. You can actually apply from your cell phone. I just recommend computers because of the uploading part of the process, but you can use your cell phone to certainly get your application started. Please use Google Chrome. Please use a valid email address. If you have an email address for your business or for yourself, well, this would be for your business where it says info at, or an email address that has at contact.com or at noreply.com. I know businesses that have that to try to set expectations for people that if you email the business, they're not going to write you back. You cannot do that in this grant, even if you have to make a dummy email just for the grant, one that you will check regularly over this weekend, because there'll be a lot of communication as they're trying to make sure all applications are not only completed, but the documents are properly submitted. So keep that in mind as you enter the screen. As you enter the system, excuse me. When it comes time to applying, you're going to see a section when it's time to submit documents. We'll show you that actual display in a moment, but this is what you want to know. You can use Genius Scan or Adobe Scan. Some of the recommendations have been that Adobe Scan has seemed to be more reliable, but again, you can use either scanning system, or if you have something else to scan, you can do that as well. You'll notice correct, nice clean surface, straight document, take your picture, upload. Well, you're going to, save it to your system first, and then you're going to upload into their system. So you're going to save it to your laptop or to your phone so you can access it again. Incorrect ways to present it, you want to make sure we don't do what you see there on the screen. When you put your information into the system, there will be messaging on a front screen, and this is moving a little ahead, which is going to tell you after you've uploaded your documents whether your application is pending additional upload or if it's incomplete. Please pay attention to the screen. There's a couple of things you want to make sure you take a note of. Please make sure you take a note of the DIR number. That is the number if you have any challenges and you need to email me and say, Richard, I'm having a challenge. What went on? I could reach out to Lendistry with that DIR number. They will locate your application faster. When you see incomplete, incomplete means when you completed the application and you performed your document upload, you did not put documents in each category, which we're going to see. Each category was not filled in with a document. That's why it says complete. If it says pending document upload, this message is going to continue right through the award notification process. Because as you're uploading documents, you're going to see a section about uploading your banking information. We will get there, but I just want to tell you that it's coming. You do not have to place your banking information in the system prior to the grant award decision by you. You can leave that out, but do know it will show your screen as pending uploaded information. If you get, as you're attempting to enter the system for logging in, if you get a spinning visual as you're seeing here on the screen, the tip is clear your cache. If you clear your cache and you try to go back in again, what has been happening is Google and the various search engines are using marketing tools to track your activity, track where you're going, and that could convolute the process and make this system that you're using difficult to navigate. So what you want to do is you want to use incognito or in private browsing. It depends on which platform you're on, if you're on a Microsoft platform or if you're on an Apple platform. You'll notice here it's going to say in private or incognito. If you use that, what that means is as you're navigating through your computer and you're going into the system, it's not going to track where you were before. So it's as if it's a fresh entry, and that'll give you access into the system. What this is doing, this is just walking you through how to use incognito or in private browsing. Application certification. This document will appear later after you complete your application. It's going to ask you to complete a certification. You do want to print this document. Why is that? When you see it, you'll fill it out on the screen, but you need to print this document because it requires a wet signature. Very, very important that you remember that. So make sure you're in a position to actually print documents, by the way, when you do this, because you will need to upload, again, a wet signed document of this application certification. There's a series of questions it's going to ask you, and these questions are about you. Is it you that's really filling out this document? Do you understand that the information is going to be validated, et cetera? So there's all sorts of questions it's going to ask. As you can see, you'll be initialing the left side of the particular document. When you get down to the fourth page, this is where you're going to put in your personal information. And here where you're typing in your name, you can do that, but you will need to also sign next to your name after you print the document and upload again. Application process. Oh, I wanted to share that for-profit and nonprofit businesses are eligible for this program. A couple of businesses that are ineligible, I didn't want to exhaust a lot of time on this. Businesses that are ineligible are those that are not legally recognized by the federal government. And here in the state of California and other states, we've legalized cannabis purchase and usage, but the federal government has not legalized that particular industry from a federal level. So do know cannabis liquor stores. Liquor stores, let me define that, because sometimes we call liquor stores our local neighborhood market that sells alcohol as well. They mean that the store only sells alcohol. You're not eligible to apply. And those businesses that conduct activities that are of a sexual affluent nature cannot apply. And religious organizations cannot apply. Social cause organizations cannot apply. However, if you're a nonprofit that provides social services like a daycare center that could be operated by a church, that daycare center is a separate business operated by the church. As a nonprofit, it has its own 501c3 filing. That business can apply. So the church can apply on behalf of that business that's operating in the church. I had someone ask me about medical services. Also, nonprofit organization, you're providing medical or social services. You're helping the elderly, you're helping disadvantaged members of the community, reentry, et cetera. That business can apply. Finding a grant. This is going to be your initial entry when you go into the website that Hilda has referenced for AmPac for Lendistry Access. You notice the left side of the screen says click here to apply. You're looking for your grant. You're going to click that button. That button's going to bring you to the place where you're looking at your entity. Are you a for-profit or are you a nonprofit? Please be careful to make sure you choose the right entity. I've had people rush, choose the wrong entity. You will create a compliance issue for yourself when you go back in to reapply as a different entity. So you want to make sure you're choosing the right entity when you prepare to apply. These next couple of screens, we're going to breeze through what it's just showing you. It's displaying the application. The main thing I want to highlight in this particular area is make sure you complete all the areas, pay attention to the information that is being requested, complete it because you want to go through this one time and one time only. Watch your cell phone. You may receive a text message from Lendistry trying to reach you because they're trying to ask you a question or they want you to call them. So keep an eye on your cell phone. You will receive I've had most people say they get emails, but you may receive a text message as well. There's another page of the application. You'll notice it says owner details, terms and conditions. If you're concerned about, wait a minute, I'm giving my social security number, I'm providing some very sensitive information, I'm giving my address, could somebody come knocking on my door? Please know that the system is encrypted as mandated and overseen by the state of California. We're ensuring that no one's going to market you. Your information is not going to be sold anywhere. And by the way, taking your social security number as one item of privacy, for example, though you will input your entire social security number, you will be the only person that will see that number. On the other side, a part of the social security number will actually be blacked out, so no one else will know your complete social security number, only the system. Business information. Please bear in mind that your NAICS code will be added in this particular screen. If you have not looked for your NAICS code before, you can actually do it on the screen here. There'll be a drop-down menu that will take you to NAICS.com. If anyone says, oh, we'll charge you to fill out this application one, if someone says, we can charge you to help you find your NAICS code, please do not pay anyone for any services that you are doing in applying for this grant. And do know NAICS codes are very, very important to this because that's one of the factors that they're looking at. Because as we know, some industries are more highly impacted by COVID-19 than others. And the state of California is trying to ensure that everyone has a fair opportunity to be scored. How can we help you? This is information about your business and about the grant size that you're applying for. Information about your business. Some of the questions will be numbers of full-time employees, number of part-time employees, jobs created as a result of the grant, jobs created in your business prior to this grant, and jobs being retained. Make sure you answer that information completely. Business demographic. Oh, yes, Hilda, please.
Just really quickly, because I'm seeing this question come up several times.
Okay.
Can you speak to the person who says that they've been turned down for the grant in the first round in terms of what they can expect or not expect for the second round? I just want to make sure everyone hears it. I'm responding, but I want to make sure everyone hears it.
Absolutely. I want to clarify, Hilda used the expression "turn down." I'm assuming that those of you who are writing, you received an email that didn't say you were waitlisted or didn't say your application was complete. It said you were ineligible. If you've been deemed ineligible, that means that you did not move. Your application will not move automatically to round two. The letter does not describe what went wrong. There is no recovery, unfortunately. If you're deemed ineligible, there's various factors that could actually impact that besides gross revenue. And because we don't know all the components of the algorithm, I can't tell you what may have caused you to be ineligible, but when you're deemed ineligible, the process has ended for you. Hope that helps. And if not, if that wasn't clear, please write another message to Hilda in the chat. We'll try to address it if you have something more specific, if I missed it.
Richard, I just wanted to direct everyone. I know some of you are posting in the chat. Please post in the Q&A, and I recognize there's quite a few questions, and some of them are being asked more than once. We're going to get to your question. Please be patient with us. It just may not be at the exact moment that you're asking it. So I know we're doing our best to keep up. There's quite a few in there. So please post those in the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rob. We're going to accelerate the pace of this. As I mentioned, we're not going to go through all 82 slides, that's for sure. But we want to give the benefit of those that are applying for the first time, those of you who have applied and have those questions, and those who are looking to apply, as Rob has already mentioned. We will get through your questions during the course of this phone call. Just showing more screens about the showing more information on the screens you're going to see. So we're just going to I'll give it a couple of seconds for you to see the screen. I'll point out most salient points. If you notice on this screen, this is confirmation. You've now completed all sections of your application. Please be sure to type the word yes in here. When I did this as a test application, I missed yes because I was so excited that I completed an application. I tried to hit save and continue, save and continue later because continue didn't light up. I figured I'll just do that. You could do that, but your application is not complete. You must complete the word yes. You must hit continue. When you do that, you then get a confirmation email that a complete application is submitted into the system, and it's now time to reset your password so you can upload documents. Please check your junk or spam mailbox. Depending on your own settings, you may not see the email because you've actually have it blocked. So please make sure you check that you will allow these emails to go through, or check your junk and spam. You should do that before you apply. Check your junk and spam mailboxes because this, by the way, comes within about 15 minutes of applying. It's not very long. You don't need to wait hours. You should get that right away. When the email comes, it will look similar to this. It's going to give you a temporary password, and your username will be your email address. Now, when you go back into the system, you're going to reset your password. You're going to start here. You're going to reset your password by putting in the temporary password and email address. You're going to put in the temporary password, the new email address if you're changing it, or when you put in your temporary password and hit submit, it's going to ask you, what do you want your new password to be? Now you're going to log in as an existing client. Again, this happens in moments of your applying for the application. You're applying for the grant. The next step is going to be those windows we showed you earlier that had a DIR number. Please make sure you write that number down. Yes, you should see it every time you enter into the system. But I've had people who had challenges going back into their application. And when they write to me and they say, I don't know my DIR numbers because they did not write it down. Going to what we said earlier, you will see this screen here. You can't get to incomplete in the first application process because if you don't complete it, it won't take you here. So now you're going to go upload documents. When you see the upload document screen, there's a series of categories. Can't see them here, but this is where it's blown up. Series of categories. You will click on a category first. So the category will be application certification. You will click on that button. Being dramatic. When you click on that particular category title, it will bring up browse. You want to click browse because now that's going to browse your PC. You want to find the document titled application certification. You want to upload that particular document. This purple will light up once you click browse, find the document, and you click on it. This will light up for upload document. You will then upload that document. When you upload a document, it's going to give you a complete message. You then go to the next document, title, government ID. You click browse, you click on it, it'll bring up the browse, you click browse, you upload, and the document will be marked complete. Please bear in mind that there is no human being involved in the process at this point. No one will know that you've uploaded multiple documents in the system until later in the process. I would suggest that you upload the single document or the document itself if it's multiple pages when you think of a tax return. Just upload that document. Do not do more than that because you'll be in a compliance nightmare, if you will. You're going to be set aside to have to review it by a human being when they see the file is not properly uploaded. If you upload all the documents properly, you will see a screen that looks like this. And the system is going to say in the application certification field, there's a document in application certification. Remember, it cannot discern whether or not that was really that document. It's just simply saying in this category, there's a document placed. In this category, there's a document placed. This is your ultimate objective. You've now uploaded all of your documents. Linking banking information, it says here, this step does not need to be completed until you are approved for the grant. That is also true in the screen. It's going to remind you that when you're uploading documents. I want to just take the time to a few moments to share with you with this. It's showing the steps that will go through when it's validating your banking information. Please be aware you are placing your full bank account information and your routing number in the screen. I've gotten a number of questions about why do I have to do that? That's why you should wait until you've awarded the grant. Now you have motivation. I'm getting money. I need to give my information so the money can be given to me. Though you will put in your complete information on the other end for people on the other side of the process in Lendistry, your information will be blocked out. This is just so you can verify that you put your information in. It is going through a Visa-owned platform called Plaid. On Lendistry's database are in Plaid are 14,000 banks. Your banking institution should be on that particular list. They will find it. If not, you will receive a message that will ask you to go into your bank's website and authenticate. If you have a two-step process where you have to put in a security code or something prior to entering the site, if there's an additional level of authentication beyond a name and a password, the system's going to tell you, we need you to go into your website and do that. I've had people say, well, why are you going to grab my information when I go to the authentication information will not be captured. Please make sure you follow along so you can get your grant award. And we're going to skip down. Of the 82 slides, remember we shared about that? I'm skipping down to what's most pertinent. Oh, you know what? That's actually it for this. Hilda, why don't we go ahead and move to questions?
Fantastic. So let me go through some of these. If you received a grant, can you receive a second one?
It's intended to be one grant per household. So though you may have multiple businesses, what I would suggest, thank you very much, Rob, for that question, for the person who asked that. If you have multiple businesses, each established under different types of entity structures and tax identification numbers, pick the business that has the highest revenue on the top of your tax returns, because that's the business that you want to receive the largest amount. You will not get multiple grants. They'll be able to verify that, they meaning the grant Lendistry, because they're going to look at addresses and they're going to look at who's the person that owns the business.
Okay, so even if you, I think that was probably the follow-up that some folks will have. What if you have multiple businesses? They're gonna do some cross-checking there.
They are, and
then,
if you I'm sorry, I was just going to say, if you applied for each of the businesses, if you put in an application for each of the businesses because you did not know this information that you're learning because Rob asked us to join you, email me and let me have Lendistry disqualify the other ones. So again, you don't end up in compliance where somebody's trying to sort out, well, which business do they want us to use? They're going to try to reach out to you. You're just elongating the process for yourself, getting a grant or getting selected properly for your grant. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, and so this is another related question because I see this coming up in the Q&A quite a bit.
Sure.
What if a business got other grants last year from, let's say the county's program or some other federal or state or local that unrelated to this? Can they apply for this?
You absolutely can. There's a question we didn't go through specifically field by field in the application process, but in the application process, it's going to ask you if you received any other federal grants. They'll ask you the type. You want to choose the type, and all you're doing actually is giving the type. You're not giving how much you received. it's recognized that the federal government and the state are trying to work in conjunction with one another to help businesses. They understand that you may have gotten grants before, and that's fine. You need the assistance.
Got it. Here's one that's come up a couple of times as well. What about realtors? Are they able to obtain this grant? Somebody mentioned that the brokerage holds the business license and each agent is classified as an independent contractor.
Excellent.
State license.
That's an excellent question. Realtors, yes. And realtors is who asked the question here. If we have Uber drivers and Lyft drivers on the phone, if we have independent delivery persons, you're working for DoorDash or Postmates and Amazon and et cetera, if you have a 1099, you are a sole proprietor, absolutely apply for this grant.
And then there's a couple of questions that, I think you've already answered them, but if I applied in the first round, do I need to reapply? I think you addressed that.
No.
And somebody asked, will this webinar cover SVO? I'm not sure what that is. So if we don't know.
So if someone can help me, I'm thinking, no. SVO is the next grant that's coming out from the federal government. It's for shuttered venues. I forgot what the O stands for.
Oh, the shuttered venue operator. Okay.
Operator, that's it. Shuttered venue operator.
Yes. Yeah,
that grant hasn't been released yet. I'm sorry, it took me a second.
No, me too.
Okay.
So anybody who's basically it's for live performance venues and so forth. There is a grant coming out from the federal government. It was part of the recent stimulus act that was signed, I think, December 27th.
That's correct.
Separate program. More information will be forthcoming about that, and we'll probably do something for that program. So, okay, great.
Yes.
Nonprofits, can they apply? You may have answered this, but I'm just going through some of the Q&A.
Absolutely. Yes, they can.
This one happens to be a high school marching band, and they primarily rely on fundraisers.
I would say for the band, put in an application. Let's see what happens because they, again, they're working by fundraisers and I one quick question with regards to the band. Are they operating independently of the school in terms of the school has set up a 501c3 for the band? If they have, that's great. That's probably how they're able to get the funds from the fundraising efforts themselves. That's the reason why you can apply.
Okay. They will have to have filed 990 tax returns for that nonprofit. So as long as they file those 990s, they should be able to apply, and as long as it's not a religious organization, because they cannot apply, as Richard mentioned earlier.
Fantastic, thank you. And then this individual took over the business on January 1st of 2020. Excuse me. So just over a year ago. That shouldn't present an issue.
What'll be interesting for that particular person, the system is going to ask about 2020 revenues, and it's going to ask for it's going to ask by virtue of a question in the application about the revenues in 2020. It will ask for that gross revenues, but hopefully this person who bought this business has the 2018 or 2019 tax returns of that business, because that is an existing business that they took over. And that's what the system is going to use to validate that there was a decrease in income during the course of the operation of that business.
Okay. And somebody asked sort of more of a logistics question, but if they applied, can they go back to it and print it if they'd like to, or is it once it's in the system, it's gone?
I'm not sure what it is they want to print. The emails come to the email boxes from the system itself. You're not printing anything. They're not giving you the ability, I filled out this application page, so have a camera, take a picture of it. And how can that happen? Because you can't re-access your application again now that it's round two. System's open. Yes.
Okay. So there's no, if you want to print your application when you're done, there's no option for that?
No.
Okay, great. And then a gentleman asked, is there somebody that can help review the application? And this is done online. And it looks like they got rejected for round one. I think you addressed it already, so they really can't apply again.
That's correct.
Okay. And having received PPP, a loan or grant, does that affect their ability to apply?
No.
Okay.
And
And
I
then,
want to just, Rob, I'm just going to go back real quick. The person that got rejected, I think that might be a similar question that was asked earlier, but I just want to define rejection because people, I've had emails to me, Rob, where people are asking, I think that I didn't get the grant because they saw wait list, they didn't understand. I want to make sure whoever this individual is that your email actually said you were deemed ineligible for the grant. If you were deemed ineligible for the grant, you cannot reapply. If you're on the wait list, you will automatically move to the second round. And if you have questions regarding that application, please look at the letter that says waitlisted because what it will say in the verbiage, it will say your application is complete. And if you want to go back, and this has been creating some confusion for folks, if you want to go back into your application and re-verify that you uploaded everything, the letter invites you to do that. But remember the intro sentence said your application is complete. Unless it says it's incomplete, then you need to go back in. Otherwise, you just need to wait. Thanks.
got it. Okay. And then a person asked if they have a family member who lives in Sonoma County,
Sure.
can they apply through your website or should they go through a local partner up there?
They can apply through our website. All of us are servicing partners to this grant, and you're not mandated or governed that you have to apply in the partner site that's in your county. If you like us, please join us. Thanks. Love to serve you.
You'd love to get it. Okay. And then the
Love to
follow-up
serve you.
question related to that is, they're a business owner, real estate agent, it looks like, and they're receiving some unemployment EDD benefits. Does that make them ineligible to apply?
No, it doesn't make them ineligible. And I'm sorry if you notice I shook my head. It's because I was thinking faster than before I spoke. It doesn't make them ineligible, and they do not have to reference PUA on the grant, by the way. So when it talks about other monies that you've received, you're not referencing PUA.
Okay, thank you. And then there's a person that has they're run by two members and no
Okay.
employees, but the grant would allow for them to hire or place a member on payroll. Would we mark that somewhere? I'm not sure where that would be in the application.
You know where this person would mark that under jobs created. You can say one.
Okay.
It's in addition to exist because it's going to ask for existing jobs retained. You'll see it listed both. Reference it that way, and then jobs created, they can put one because they're going to add someone.
Okay. And then they got an email saying that they were awarded. So this was one of the fortunate individuals, but they haven't seen the money in the account yet, I'm presuming, and that they stated, and then they got an email saying they didn't have to reapply. So
Right.
This is one of the fortunate outcomes.
Yes.
Is there a lag between,
Yes.
what's the time period roughly between being awarded the grant and then actually seeing the dollars and cents in their account?
Right. What Lendistry has mentioned is they're trying to distribute funds within 2 days of sending out that letter, but what they found out is they just can't meet that deadline. So
Okay.
I would ask the person to understand that monies are being distributed every single day on the 21,000. They have 45 days. They, meaning Lendistry, have 45 days from the date in which awardees were notified to get money to them. I'm not saying it's going to take that long. Again, they want to do it in a few days, but part of what's happening is the letter's going out saying you get the award, then they're double checking information. Now they're validating bank information. So you may hear something again about we need to validate your information one more time. Please watch your emails. Otherwise, you'll see it in the bank account. And by the way, when it's being deposited in the bank account, you're going to get a letter telling you it's deposited into the bank account.
Yeah.
From Lendistry as well as your bank. You'll be notified.
And just
And
for
I
those,
think,
go ahead, Hilda. Go
Rob,
ahead.
if I could just add to that, keep in mind there are validations that have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So Lendistry is going through that validation process with those that have been selected. So 2 days was wonderful and ambitious. That's why they gave that 45-day window of time before the money gets into your account. So the goal is to try and get it in the account as quickly as possible, but be patient if you don't see it in a week or 2 weeks. They have up to 45 days. I just wanted to reemphasize that.
Excellent.
Thank you. And Hilda, one of the things I'll add to that is that having operated our grant program, which I want to answer this question too. Remember, this is completely separate from the county's program, which closed in November of 2020. That program is closed. All the funds were expended. There's not going to be any further application period related to that program. So if you got funding through that program or you applied or whatever, you can still apply for this program. Different
Absolutely.
completely. And so do not let that be a limiting factor for you if you'd like to apply. I think somebody asked a question, is that was that money, those funds from the county, federal money? Yes, it was federal CARES Act money. It is considered taxable income. So those that applied and received funds should have already received a 1099, and then they're going to have to figure out the taxable impacts in each individual case. So I think that question came up once or twice. So let me go through, let's continue to go through. We still have, close to 50 questions, and trying to see which ones we
I answered
addressed.
about 31.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of great questions coming through. I really appreciate
Oh,
that.
wonderful.
And one of the things that, Richard and Hilda, at the end, I don't know if you want everybody just to go to ampac.com and apply. Are you guys accepting phone calls for this? Because I think people are going to have follow-up questions. What's the best way? And Richard, if you're done, could you give me back host control?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
And Rob, I will maybe in the last 5 minutes talk about other programs through the Economic Relief Aid Act that people should
Perfect.
at least pay attention to as well if they don't get selected for the grant.
Okay, fantastic.
Rob, when I stopped sharing, did I just give it back to you?
No, what you need to do is hover over my picture, the little 3 dots, and it'll say make host or make a host, and then it'll automatically do that. And I will once again regain the power of Zoom.
Okay, there it is, only host. Okay.
So let's see. I did receive the first grant and applied for the second grant, not knowing that it would be on a waiting list. So this is a question. So presuming that somebody got the grant, I think we answered that. You're probably not going to get a second one. If you're automatically moved from the second round to the first round, what are your chances? So lots of folks applying. So it's not first come, first serve, and that's important to mention, but it is, there's going to be quite a few folks applying. Is that fair to say? I mean, there was 300 and something thousand.
There were 344,000 grant applications were submitted. Yes, that was very fair to say, Rob.
Okay. So, I would say try, because you never know.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen there. And what if you have to make changes? It sounds like some folks may need to change some income things. It's pretty much once you hit submit, you can't make any changes there?
No, you can continue to make changes to your application right up to the time that the window, the portal closes for applications, which is Monday at 6 p.m.
Got it. Okay. And do they want, when they're talking about uploading documents, do they want the totality of your tax returns, including all the attachments and subsequent forms that go with it? Okay.
Great question. Yes.
So, because some of these, when you're doing your federal tax returns, they can be 20, 30, 40 pages, depending on the different subsequent forms that you have to submit. And then okay, so I'm going through these.
Rob, are you seeing the veteran organization, the C9?
Go ahead. If you see a question there, go ahead and
a veteran nonprofit organization registered in California as a 501c19 veteran organization. Can you describe their eligibility to apply?
They are eligible to apply. What you want to make sure when you go into the system, choose the right side of the screen where it says apply here. You'll see it says nonprofit organization, and then it's going to ask you the respective questions about what type of nonprofit that you are. So that's perfect. We encourage veterans to apply, please.
And then question, uploading documents. It's got a spot for a password. That would be the appropriate location to insert your password there, I assume.
Yes.
And then is there I think we may have answered this, but there's a tech line or a place that they can call for help
Yes.
during the application process, would that be one of your team members?
If it's a technical question, there's a difference between just a general application question and a technical question. My computer keeps spinning, et cetera, et cetera. That was the information we shared earlier. But when it gets deeper than that, where you can no longer get back into the system, we can't help you as a servicing partner. But Lendistry's phone number is 888-612-4370. The center's operating hours are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So today you have till 11 o'clock tonight to call them. They cannot call out because of do not call laws, but you can call in up to 11 o'clock in the evening. And then on Saturday, the center will also be open at 7 a.m. and it will close at 12 p.m.
Okay. Richard, do you mind putting that in the chat for folks?
Sure.
And
I
then,
just did.
oh,
I
thank
put
you,
it in
Hilda.
the chat.
Fantastic. And question is, can this grant help pay off an unforgivable loan? So presumably either the EIDL or an unforgivable PPP loan.
The intent of the grant is to help you with payroll, rent expenses, interest expenses in your business. It's more around that. The federal government doesn't want the state government paying them off. So just so you know, put the funds of the grant back into the business. I know it'd be nice to get rid of the other loans, but use the government loans to pay that off. Use the PPP to pay off your EIDL, etc.
Okay. Is someone qualified if they only upload their tax returns but don't have a business license?
If you were filing taxes and telling the IRS that you're in business, yes, you can. Business licenses are a state issue. Should you be operating without a license, or do you even need a license for what you do? But you are filing a Schedule C, absolutely apply.
Okay. Someone asked, what is a NAICS number? And the NAICS number is the North American Industrial Classification System that kind of identifies, sectors from sort of the highest level all the way down to the micro level, business sectors. Do they have to upload the NAICS number or select from a NAICS number in there?
Yes, they do. There will be a drop-down menu if they don't go to
Okay.
NAICS.com prior to this. There's a drop-down menu right in the application. Yes.
Fantastic. This other person, I think, is also an independent contractor. It looks like they're maybe an insurance agent. 1099 can apply.
Yes.
And so they have some income questions and gross revenue. Is that gross income?
Gross revenue. We want to be careful about income because income is what we take home. Revenue is what we actually collected. And this is how I'm defining it. I'm defining income as after I've taken a check from you and I paid all my expenses to operating my business to help you with the product or service that you have, I then put on my tax return my net revenue. That's not the figure you want to use. You want to use what did you take in from your transactions, gross.
Okay, got it. And I'm a small business in an S Corp. I resell renewable energy. Do I qualify? Pays
Yes.
3 individuals. Okay.
Yes.
So again, county grant separate from this grant, has nothing to do with it. So don't let that be a limited factor in applying. And I submitted an application to Lendistry and received a thank you. Where do I go next? So I think you've addressed that in that you're going to know whether you're ineligible or whether you're on you're going to be on a wait list, correct?
I know that was the first round. If they received a thank you, they might have already applied because this round opened this week, Rob. So I'm thinking this is what the person might be thinking. If they got the thank you, they just need to wait because it's either going to be approved, you got a grant, or you weren't approved.
Got it. And so, okay, so this question, I think we addressed it, but just in case, if they're in Sonoma, they can apply.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
No, you answered it. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, got it.
And somebody was, I think, applied a couple of times and they were rejected. Is there a box or somewhere in the application that if they don't have all the necessary documents, does, sometimes when you fill out an application, it'll say you forgot, you need to answer this. Is there somewhere that somebody knows that they need to put in they need to upload a document or something's missing?
Sure. There'll be two times when that will occur. In the very first part of the application, when you get down to the end, you have to put yes, and you can continue and save for later if you're just not ready to submit an application in. But you have to type in the word yes to get submit. That's actually submitting your application. Then it's going to ask you for documents. So that's the first area where you won't be able to proceed forward if your application is not complete and the yes is answered. And then the second time will be when you're uploading documents, the little messaging next to each category. Sorry, I'm visual. There's a message next to each category that will say completed or incomplete. When you're uploading documents, if you don't see, at that category, a green completed message, you have not completely uploaded your document. The system has not accepted it. Very important.
Got it. Okay. So a couple of questions, and I want to clarify again, this is a state grant. And
Yes.
so the funding would come from the state of California. It is not federal. It is not local. So it's not a county grant, city grant. It's not a federal grant. This is coming from the state of California. The question of whether or not this could be taxable, have you heard anything about that? Or is the state going to issue its version, tax guidance on this?
It is taxable. It is a taxable grant. They will receive, when they get the grant award, it's going to give them a notice as well as a part of that process. That's going to remind them that as a taxable grant, you will need to report it. And that's not that you'd want to reject it, but that's what the purpose of that is, to make sure you acknowledge it, because if you don't want to take the grant, you can absolutely refuse it. You're not being forced to take it.
Okay. I got a question, and this has come up sort of a thread throughout the questions. People need to change things on applications they've already
Mhm.
submitted.
Mhm.
And at this point, I think you answered it before. It's too late.
Yes.
It's in. Should they try again, or is
Oh,
that just going to mess things up even further?
no, I definitely would discourage from reapplying, because the grant cycle has been reopened. They can go back in and edit their application.
Okay.
They
And
can.
there's a question. It's an older question. It's from 1136.
Okay.
We got a bunch still left. Can you go over again the document that needs a wet signature? Does anything need a wet signature?
Yes, the application certification needs a wet signature. That's the very first document, and it's going to be introduced early in the application submission process. I would suggest when they go into the website, they'll see where it'll say application certification. Go ahead and print it right from the beginning.
Okay. And then the application, Julie asked this a little bit earlier. It asks about what previous help you received. Does that include loans and grants?
No, just grants only.
Just grants only. So if you
Just
received a
grants.
loan, that's not considered quote help, because it's debt and you have to pay that off.
Yes. And remember, we're assuming non-federal loans. I'm assuming somebody went to a bank and applied for a loan. We're talking about federal loans, federal, state, and county. If you receive those, and I'm saying loans loosely because we know that loans can be forgiven. PPP is forgiven. EIDL, you can pay off, etc. Those are federal, state, county. That's what you want to reference. Nothing else.
Okay. And with tax returns, that also includes the 1099 forms.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Whatever they submitted to the federal government. Yes.
Got it. Got it. And here's another question. Real estate investors, do landlords qualify?
Landlords do qualify. Yes.
Does that have to be in a certain type of corporate structure, or can it just be an individual that owns a couple rental units?
Because we know that that does exist, that individual can apply. And they're applying, what is your entity? It sounds like this person is a sole proprietor, because you said they're an individual investor. So
Okay.
you're furnishing your personal tax returns along with your Schedule C.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Assuming that the next year the grant must be added to your taxes. Yeah, we heard
Yes.
that one. It says I loaded documents, but your website says they're not submitted. What number? Okay, you guys are going to put some information about that, Christine. So just hang in there.
Mhm.
And then you may have addressed this, so I apologize if you.
Sure.
Is there any priority given in round 2 to those that applied in round 1?
From what I understand, no, because this is not a first come, first serve basis. It's based on scoring, not when you apply.
Okay, and I think we addressed this earlier, but this is coming up from Malik. One corporation has 3 different businesses,
Mhm.
different locations, different addresses, all that. will this application be, I mean, should they apply once or basically for all three? And I think,
Go ahead, Rob.
no, so 3 different locations, 3 different
Mhm.
addresses, presumably one ownership or, some
Mhm.
variation in ownership.
Mhm.
What about that where it may be the same person, but they may
Yes,
actually have 3 different businesses. The intent is still to only fund it once, right?
that is correct.
Okay, but they may apply for all 3 and they'll get rejected based on the name.
Oh, I see. So, okay, I'm sorry. In my mind, I was visualizing this because franchises can apply, by the way, cannot.
Okay.
But I was visualizing that the person has multiple locations of a business that they own. So maybe they have 3 grocery stores, for example. It's all, I don't want to use a franchise name, but we'll say it's Rob's Grocery, but Rob's Grocery is doing very well. We opened up 3 sites. Well, you're one corporation with 3 locations. So when you're filing taxes under the umbrella name of the corporation. And then you have all this work that's been
Okay.
done through the different stores. So yes, you apply one time under that one corporation and provide all of the tax returns,
Okay.
every page.
I just wanted to say, I know we're running a little bit over. Are we all okay with staying just a few minutes extra to answer some of these questions? And I think Hilda, or do you have time to do that? And then you talk about.
I can talk about that if I could do that now, because I do have another call. So
Okay, perfect.
I'd love to do that. And I just want to make one comment, just a clarification on that last question. So Richard gave the example of at one owner, multiple locations, single tax return. But if you are one owner, multiple locations,
Mm.
3 different corporations, choose the corporation with the highest revenue because they only want to give that owner one loan. Correct. One grant.
One grant. That's correct.
Is that a good clarity?
That is correct.
Richard? Okay. So again, let me just repeat that again because I don't want to confuse people.
Mhm.
If you are an owner, you establish 3 different corporations for your business,
Mhm.
and you own 100% of those 3 different corporations for that business, you can only apply for one of those corporations.
Yes.
And the recommendation is choose the corporation that has the highest revenue to give you the highest possibility of the highest grant.
Absolutely.
Okay. Hilda, why don't we're gonna pause the questions for a second, and Hilda, you have to go, so I want to make sure that you're able to
Pardon me one
share some of
second.
the other different programs, and then we'll come back to Richard to try to answer the remaining. We've just got a few more, so if folks can hang tight, you're going to get some good info, I think.
Somebody's at my front door, so I'll be right back. But Hilda, go ahead.
Richard, oh, okay.
Okay. So what I wanted to just share, if you have 2019 tax returns, which are required for this program, I really want to encourage small businesses to think about the Paycheck Protection Program, especially if you are either a sole prop, you are an employee, so you want to retain your business, or you're a single member LLC. The Paycheck Protection Program is available for you to be able to apply and to get forgiveness. While it is a loan, ultimately, you shouldn't have to repay that loan if, in fact, if you use 60% of that for hiring employees or retaining yourself as a sole proprietor. I also want to mention that if you have an SBA loan, if your business is growing, the benefits in the economic relief package also has some really great opportunities. If you have an SBA loan, you should have been notified that your loan is going to be paid for you for the next 3 months, February, March, and April, up to $9,000 per month. You should also be aware that if you're growing and you need additional capital, the SBA program, and you get an SBA loan to buy your building or buy your business or do any improvements or refinance a conventional loan that you might have on a piece of commercial real estate or equipment, the SBA is going to make your loan payments up to $9,000 per month for 6 months. So you get 6 months of debt forgiveness. It is not deferment, it is debt forgiveness up to $9,000 per month. It's a great opportunity for recovery, and we're thinking about the recovery as well as the stimulus. So we'd be happy to answer any questions about that. With the SBA microloan, if you need a loan up to $50,000, I saw several people asking questions about grants for startups. And none of these this grant program is not for startups, but we do a microloan program that we can fund startups, and that program is available as well. So thank you very much, Rob, for having me. Richard will continue to answer all of the questions, and we are here to serve businesses in Riverside County and throughout the Inland Empire and the state. So
Hilda,
thank you.
thank you very much for your time and the great information, and always appreciate you and the rest of the AmPac team as fantastic partners. So thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day and weekend.
You too.
Okay, so let's continue on with some of the questions. We want to try to get to everybody's. So some login issues. They forgot their password and it says their email doesn't exist. Probably need to go in and redo it.
What I would suggest is let me reach out to me, give me your DIR number, and let me reach out to AmPac. I'm sorry, AmPac. Let me reach out to Lendistry. You don't want to reapply without having someone intervene first. It might be the cache issue that we talked about earlier. You need to clear your cache. I guess that's the proper way to pronounce it, Rob. It might just be something as simple as that. You obviously use Google Chrome because you're able to put in an application, but now you're stuck. Reach out to me, send me a DIR number and your business name. I will get you what to do.
Great. Another question is they invested the money in their business but didn't generate income. So it sounds like they're operating at a loss.
Right.
Can they still apply?
What we want to remember is gross revenue. Yes, you may not have netted the type of return that you would like, which is why you filed negative net profit in your business. But if you received revenues from your business, which means you're actually in operation, you had transactions that brought you revenue, that's what you're counting, not the net bottom line. Very important.
Okay. And can you use these for payroll, and can you pay yourself as a sole prop?
You absolutely can.
Great. With the tax documents we have to upload, do we choose the year that had greater revenue?
You can do that. And just remember the 2 years that you have the opportunity to choose from is 2018 or 2019. It's one or the other. It's not 2020. They will ask you about 2020. However, you're uploading tax returns for 18 or 19.
Okay. And then second round, first time to apply, app went to Lendistry. They signed on, uploaded docs, but it's not letting them do either. So they should probably go.
Just go ahead and reach out to me. Let me have somebody at Lendistry take a look at that and give you the answer. And you should see my my email in the chat.
Okay, so this is kind of a little more technical question, but their company is a C Corp with an EIN, and it's a subsidiary of a company located overseas. That's the parent company. The owner lives overseas and he doesn't have a social security number. We've been advised to use a local representative's social security number, one of their employees, and put percentage of ownership 0 in the application. Do you agree with that?
The challenge that's going to create a compliance issue because the owner information is not being put in the application, though he lives somewhere else. But if his business is being operated here and his business was incorporated here, see, that's the key. It's really operation or incorporation, one or the other in the state of California. I would say have that owner put his own information in the application, let him complete the application because he's the one responsible for the business. If he has a business manager here that has ownership in the company, that's obviously a responsible person here. But if the person is just an employee that's managing the business but does not own it at all, that individual who's overseas owns it 100%, you are going to have a challenge if he does not put that his business is operated here, but he owns it.
Okay. And that sounds like that might be a little bit more technical situation that I would suggest follow up afterwards.
Yes.
They have not received anything in the no emails at all. They applied apparently. So
Email me.
email. Okay.
Email me with the frustration and the DIR number if they have it, or if they just have their business name that they applied under and their email address, send me that.
Okay. And then there's another one that says they renewed their business license, but they haven't
Mhm.
gotten it. Can
Okay.
they use the receipt for payment?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. That's what we
Yes.
did with our grant program.
Yes.
Small landlords filing Schedule E.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Can they apply if they just started the business of January of 2020 and they have not yet filed 2020 taxes yet? So they started it in 2020, but they haven't
Got
done
it.
their taxes yet.
That's a PPP candidate, but
Okay.
not for the grant, because the grant wants your business established by June, I think it's June 20th. I'm sorry, not June 20th, June 1st of 2019.
Okay, great.
At the latest, they want to establish at the latest. Mhm.
It's Christine's asking, her husband and I work in the business, her
Mhm.
and her husband, I should say.
Oh,
Do we have it? Do they have employees that they do not have employees that are required
okay.
to have workers' comp?
Okay.
They list themselves as a business with no employees, or would they be considered employees for the application purposes?
They are definitely considered employees for the application purpose, and the employees or these workers that they have, it seems like we're using the term employees loosely. If these are workers that are on your payroll, count those workers as well. I recognize that you said that you don't have workers comp for them, but that's not a question that's going to be asked on the application. Is workers comp being paid for these individuals? If they're on your payroll, they are your employees, they are your responsibility.
Okay. This person doesn't have their 2019 taxes done yet. Do they still qualify if they're using 2018 only?
Yes, because it's 18 or 19, not both.
Okay. And there was a question in here at 12:09 about, looks like first time to apply in the second round. Their app went to Lendistry. They're having some challenges there, but uh, they're having some challenges. So I recommend that they reach out. Richard, in the chat, can you please put the best way to get a hold of your office? And I don't know if that's you or calling or whatever, but I think folks want to be able to have a way to touch bases with you. Which line on tax return do we look for on our tax return for revenue?
It depends on your business, the entity that you filed under, but suffice it to say, look.
Richard, you froze up. I think Richard's computer has frozen and hopefully it comes back online, but maybe his computer's just had enough. So one of the things that there's a question that keeps coming up about Richard's email, and I'm hoping his computer comes back online, but AmPac.com is the website for the office. They're located here in the Inland Empire, so they're local. And of course, you can go to their website and apply, or the California Relief Grant portal to apply. And I think he's logging back on. There he is.
I'm back. Sorry about that. My system
Hey,
didn't even give me a warning to say that we're having an internet connection issue or something.
yeah, no, you froze up. We thought you just had enough of us. So,
okay. And you froze on my side. I'm saying, Rob, it's
okay.
you. It's not me because I'm watching myself wave.
Richard, just a reminder, is
yes,
hover over those three dots in the upper right-hand corner and give me host control. It'll have mute and then the three dots, upper right-hand corner of my picture, just my picture.
Of your picture. Okay.
Yes. And then it'll give you, there's three little dots and it'll say, please give host control or make a host.
See, on my computer at the upper right-hand corner, it's saying view.
Well, no, what you see, if you can see my picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the larger picture on the screen.
No.
In the gallery. Got it.
And then it'll be three dots and then it'll say make a host or make host.
Yep, I see it. There you
go.
All right,
perfect. All right, great. Sorry about that, everybody. And then it says we've got just a few more questions.
Sure.
And I think the one that keeps up coming is if you could put your email address in, or the best way to get a hold of you. This is when you last froze up, so maybe you did that on purpose. I don't know. People reaching out to you.
Oh, you know what? I've been sending it to you. I didn't realize it doesn't say all
Yes, put it
attendees.
under all attendees, please.
Got it. Sorry about that, everyone. I've been constantly sending it to you, Rob.
And one of the questions is they aren't a business isn't in the unincorporated area of the county, do
Yes.
not have a business license. We found this with our grant program as well. Can
Okay.
they still apply if it's not required?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they're
And
still filing taxes. That's the key
yeah,
here. They're still
gotcha.
filing taxes.
This individual was a partner in a business and also a Lyft driver. So they got a 1099.
Yes.
Can they apply once or twice? No, you can only apply once.
Yes.
So I think that one, they uploaded
And
all. Go ahead.
and
Sorry.
for that person, I was just going to say, Rob, if that person is still on the line with us, that person should choose which business is he or she gaining the most revenue. Use
Got
that
it.
one.
Okay, and it says this person's on SSI income and did not file an 18 or 19 tax return due to that, and negative gross income. Sole proprietor, travel agent, and they don't have any business license and registered with SOT since 2008. So there's a couple things going on there. So they don't have 18 or 19 taxes due and didn't file any. It doesn't look like.
Okay.
I think I would say reach out to AmPac to get a little more clarification.
Yes.
That sounds like
Yes.
it could be a little bit more complicated.
Yes.
And uploaded all their documents, but there's no confirmation that they were received. I uploaded them more than once, but still does not show received as anywhere.
We need to go. This person needs to go back to the upload screen. When you uploaded a document, you should see right to the right of the name of that document after you've uploaded, you should see the word complete. If you see pending, that means your upload was not successful and you want to go back through all the documents again, but that's where you want to look to see if the system accepted your document. It would say complete.
Excellent. If our business taxes is for our business, we're under the husband's EIN, such as a sole prop, and now she's the sole person operating the business due to her husband's death. My condolences. Very sorry.
Yes,
can they apply and submit 2018 and 2019 taxes that still show the decedent's name on the Schedule C?
Got it. What I would do is remember it's 1 year or the other. You don't need to supply both. So I would just pick the year that had the most revenue is what I would do there, one. And then I would send a copy of the death certificate and a letter of explanation. Because it sounds like your husband may have been, he is deceased, but you have not changed, and I'm not sure, but if you haven't changed that your owner operator of the business is still showing under his name, just provide something that indicates a letter of explanation, what documentation you have that says, I'm still operating the business. He's just gone. He's no longer with us. So someone doesn't assume you're trying to trick the system by saying he's no longer around, but I operate the business, but you didn't provide anything to prove it.
Okay. And then it says that this other individual shows, I guess when they log in or when they submit, it says pending documents received. And then they also received an email saying all documents have been reviewed. Do they need to do anything?
No.
No. Okay.
The pending upload means that you didn't put in your banking information. So that's why that does that. But as long as you go to the screen where you upload documents and see completed, I think there's 5 categories. As long as you've done that, you're all set. And the letter you receive says, thanks, your application is complete. So you're all set.
Wonderful. And then small landlords filing Schedule E. I think we already answered that one.
Yeah, not eligible.
Not eligible. And then theirs says pending on all the documents, but they received California confirmation application complete. So I don't think they need to do anything. We just a similar situation. And then it says there was no column for attaching 2020 profit and loss to show. Okay.
No, it's not looking for that. It's 2018 or 2019. There will be a question in the very beginning in the application section around business details that asks about 2020 revenue, but you're not validating that 2020 revenue. That's not in consideration for this grant.
Okay. And the other one is this grant for independent farmers as well.
You can apply. You're an independent operator of a business. You can apply. Yes.
Okay. And that, that did complete the question. So let me see, there's a couple that came up after that. Not seeing Richard's email in the chat. It's in there. You just have to scroll through. It's rpallay@ampac.com, and that's RPALLAY@ampac.com. I'm also going to include the county's email for our economic development and business and community services, and I'm going to put this in the chat, and it's for our website and our email. So if you have any questions about different programs that are out there, by all means, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. If we don't know where the information is located, we'll certainly do our best to connect you with the right resources, not just for this grant program, for ongoing. There's different programs and services to help businesses year round, and we want you to be aware of those programs. And it says, I think there's another question. Have completed 5 green statues next to everything. So it sounds like they completed, yet I've received an incomplete notice. What should I do?
I typed it in the chat, Rob.
Oh, that was, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was repeating their question because their question was long and I didn't know if I just wrote an answer, you would know what it applied to.
Yeah, no, perfect. I appreciate that. So at this point, I really want to take the opportunity to thank you, Richard, for taking the time with us this afternoon.
My pleasure.
And
pleasure.
Thank you to all the participants. This has been
thank you.
Great questions that everybody has, and we certainly hope this has been informative for you. And again, we're going to record. This is being recorded, and we're going to go ahead and put it on our Riverside County Business and Community Services YouTube channel, so that if you want to watch it again or there's something that wasn't clear. So thank you very much, Richard, and thank you very much to all the participants for joining us today. And we will do these periodically on different subjects, so stay tuned. Thank you.